How much blood must be spilled to fix a monster that your own government created? And does a superpower have the moral right to burn a city to the ground just to arrest one of its own former employees? The US invasion of Panama was not merely a military operation. It was the violent, late-night termination of a decades-long business partnership between a global superpower and a dictator who knew too many of its secrets. 1989, Panama. General Manuel Noriega stands on a balcony. He waves a machete over his head. He screams defiance at the giant to the north. For years, Noriega was the CIA's most valuable man in Panama. He received millions in American taxpayer money. He provided intelligence on communist movements in Central America. He helped smuggle weapons to the Contras in Nicaragua. In exchange, the United States ignored his growing drug empire. They looked away as he turned the entire country of Panama into a counting house for the Medellin cartel. He was the maximum leader. He was untouchable until he wasn't. The partnership sours in 1988. Federal grand juries in Miami and Tampa indict Noriega for racketeering, drug trafficking, and money laundering. He is no longer a strategic asset. He is a political liability and a public embarrassment to the Bush administration. President George H.W. Bush freezes Panamanian assets in U.S. banks. He imposes crushing economic sanctions. The Panamanian economy collapses. Poverty skyrockets. But Noriega does not blink. He mocks the Yankee from his fortified bunkers. He declares a state of war. He tells his people that the United States is coming to steal their canal and destroy their sovereignty. December 16, 1990. The tension reaches a breaking point. 4 unarmed U.S. military officers take a wrong turn near Noriega's headquarters. The Comandancia, Panamanian Defense Forces, PDF, open fire. First Lieutenant Robert Paz is killed. A second officer is wounded. A third is beaten and his wife is threatened. This is the spark Washington waited for. President Bush finds the order for Operation Just Cause. He cites 4 goals: safeguarding the lives of Americans, defending democracy, combating drug trafficking, and protecting the Panama Canal treaties. It is the largest U.S. military operation since the Vietnam War. December 20, 1990, 1 a.m. 27,000 U.S. troops descend on Panama by sea and air. Stealth fighters, making their combat debut, drop 2,000-pound bombs on PDF barracks. The neighborhood of El Chorrillo, a densely populated area surrounding Noriega's headquarters, erupts in flames. Wooden tenement houses burn like matchsticks, and there was no warning for the civilians. Thousands of families flee into the night through smoke and gunfire. Many do not make it. The PDF, outgunned and disorganized, dissolves in hours. But the man they came for is gone. Noriega vanishes into the shadows of the city. President Bush, furious of the escape, puts a $1 million bounty on Noriega's head. Elite Delta Force teams and Navy SEALs scour the country. On Christmas Eve, Noriega surfaces in an unexpected place. He seeks asylum at the Apostolic Nunciatus, the Vatican's embassy. He thinks the Americans will not violate holy ground. He is wrong. The U.S. Army responds with a bizarre form of psychological warfare. They surround the embassy with massive armored vehicles and high-output speakers. For days, they blast high-volume rock and heavy metal music 24 hours a day. They play Welcome to the Jungle, I Fought the Law, and Panic in Detroit. The goal is to prevent the diplomats from sleeping and to grate on Noriega's nerves. The Vatican protests this siege. The international community watches in disbelief while the noise continues until the diplomats can no longer stand it. January 3rd, 1990. Noriega breaks. He realizes there is no escape. He walks out of the embassy gates in a tan uniform, clutching a Bible, as he surrenders to DEA agents. He is immediately flown to a prison in Florida. In irons, in Panama, the smoke finally clears, revealing a grim reality. The official U.S. death toll is 516 Panamanians, while the independent human rights groups and local witnesses claim the number is closer to 3,000. Most of the dead are civilians caught in the crossfire or burned in their homes. Noriega is convicted in a U.S. court. He is the first foreign head of state to be tried and convicted by a U.S. jury. He spends the next 27 years in a succession of American, French, and Panamanian prisons. The man who knew the CIA's darkest secrets of the 1970s and 80s dies in a hospital bed in 2017. He was 83 years old. The aftermath of Operation Just Cause left deep scars on the Panamanian psyche. While many celebrated the end of a dictatorship, the cost was the near total destruction of entire neighborhoods and a permanent sense of violated sovereignty. What most refused to know was that the U.S. intelligence community funded and protected Noriega for decades, despite documented evidence of his criminal activities and human rights abuses. The destruction of El Chorrillo left over 20,000 people homeless and created a refugee crisis within the city. The invasion was overwhelmingly condemned by the United Nations General Assembly and the Organization of American States, a flagrant violation of international law. The removal of Noriega did not end drug trafficking through the region. It merely fragmented the cartels, leading to even more violence in the decades that followed. The invasion of Panama cemented a new era of American foreign policy. It was a transition from Cold War proxy battles to humanitarian interventions and the war on drugs. It proved a chilling lesson in the game of global politics. There are no permanent friends, and no amount of past service to a superpower can save you once you become a liability. So, my question remains: is the United Nations powerless by design, or useful precisely because it creates the illusion of restraint while power does what it wants?